Good evening and welcome to the Board of Selectmen meeting for Monday, October 25th, 2021. The time is now 6:30 p.m. If you could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for moments of silence for two individuals. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for 2 moments of silence. First is Lois Kelly. Lois Kelly was an amazing woman who served on many boards in Abington and was a huge advocate for the Abington seniors. Lois served on the Abington Council on Aging for a number of years. In 1978, she was one of the 3 founding members of Abington Elderly Services, the first nonprofit organization of its kind in the state of Massachusetts. Lois continued late into her life to serve as president of Abington Elderly, where she helped organize the effort to open the Abington Senior Center as well as purchase and fund the senior van. Her passion for aiding the elderly also showed through her full-time job as an administrative assistant at the Mildred Alfred Nursing Home in Abington, where she worked from 1972 until her retirement in 2004. Lois will be missed by her family and many friends. So a moment of silence for Lois. Thank you. And now, a moment of silence again. So on Saturday morning, after an extensive search that closed many streets, parks, and the surrounding area of our Abington community, a police cadaver dog located the body of Elijah Lewis, a 5-year-old boy who went missing from his New Hampshire home in September. This was not the ending that any one of us wanted to hear, nor is it one that Elijah deserved. That poor little child was taken from this world, a beautiful soul taken at just 5 years of age. Nobody, absolutely no one, deserves to die this way. This is an unprecedented event for our community, one that has rocked our community and many others. But one thing I do know is that this community always comes together, and we will honor the life of Elijah. I want to thank the numerous law enforcement agencies from Massachusetts, New Hampshire, and the federal level that came out and worked tirelessly this past week to locate Elijah and bring some closure. For the community of Abington, Elijah's family, friends, and anyone else that is feeling the weight of this tragic event, that may be struggling to cope with this event, we are here for you. Please reach out if you need help. Please talk to a family member, a friend, a pastor at your local church, anyone in the community. Please do not be afraid to reach out and speak with someone to ask them for support or help, or just to lend a listening ear. We will never forget Elijah, and we will honor his life. Please join me in a moment of silence for Elijah, and may Elijah Lewis rest in peace. Thank you. So at this time, we are planning a vigil for Elijah next week here in town. This will be held rain or shine, and more details will be released shortly on social media, the town website, and we will send out a message via Nixle. I feel it's important for us to get together as a community and honor Elijah's life. Thank you. So, public announcements is first on the agenda. Alex Hager, do you have any?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I have one public announcement.
Okay.
October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, a cure worth fighting for, in memory of the millions of strong women who have lost their lives to this disease. In honor of the 3.8 million breast cancer survivors and the millions of brave women battling breast cancer today, we commemorate Breast Cancer Awareness Month in Abington. As defined by the Center for Disease Control, breast cancer is a disease in which cells in the breast grow out of control. There are different kinds of breast cancer. The kind of breast cancer depends on which cells in the breast turn into cancer. Breast cancer cells usually form a tumor that can often be seen on an X-ray or felt as a lump. Breast cancer is the second most common cancer affecting women. And an estimated 1 in 8 women will develop breast cancer over the course of their lifetime. And 281,550 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer in the United States of America this year. Ladies, check yourself. We commemorate Breast Cancer Awareness Month to make people aware of the prevention women can take, noticing the symptoms and signs, conducting cancer screenings, and the available treatments of breast cancer. Knowledge is a life-saving power. Thank you to the advocates, medical professionals, researchers, and caregivers who dedicate their lives to making progress toward cures. No one fights alone. We wear pink to stand in solidarity, to fight like a girl, to find a cure and end breast cancer forever. Together we can fight cancer and win. More information on breast cancer is available at cancer.gov/breast. Information specialists at the National Cancer Institute are also available to help answer cancer-related questions in English and in Spanish at 1-800-422-6237. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's all I have for public announcements this week.
Thank you. Mike, anything?
Yeah, just one from the Veteran Service. If you're an Abington veteran, please allow the town to treat you to lunch at the Abington Senior Center. Wear your uniform and bring a photo if you can. Come tell your story. Be held Wednesday, November 3rd, 2021, at the Abington Senior Center, 441 Summer Street, Abington. It'll be held from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. You must register for this event if you plan on staying for the luncheon. Please RSVP at 781-982-2145, and more information can be found on the town website.
Thank you. Alex Bezanson?
I have nothing, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Tim?
I have two. First, November 16th, the town will be conducting a training and information session at the Abington Senior Center for all elected and appointed board and committee members. We will discuss issues such as the open meeting law requirements, roles and responsibilities of boards and committee members, policies, and future training opportunities. And the town clerk asked us to announce that November 2nd is election day, but there are no elections in Abington, so there'll be no polling centers open in Abington. There's nothing on the ballot for us.
Thank you. Okay, next up is public comment. Does anyone have any public comment for what's on the agenda? If you do, please step up, state your name and address. Hearing none. Public appointments, we have none. Old business, there is none. The first action discussion item is a vote to approve the minutes of October 12th, 2021. You can review them and I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
A motion, do we have a second?
On the motion to adjourn at 6:50, that was not unanimous. I voted no on that.
You wanted to stay longer?
Yep.
You
It
had more,
was only 20 minutes.
you had more to do?
So Alex, are you changing your motion and Tim, you're
I'll
seconding?
I'll second it.
So Alex and Tim, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous. Next, vote to accept the 2020 re-precincting plan as presented by the town clerk.
Town clerk's not here, however, we do have some maps floating around here somewhere.
Do we have a map? Yeah.
Maps I showed you. Leanne says that there'll be no distinct changes. Precinct 1, I think, some of the streets there, looks like
Oh, yeah, we-
to precinct 5 or vice versa, and then precinct 2, looks like there's a couple changes, but again, she said nothing distinct, and all voters will be notified of any changes to the, if there was any changes to the precincts.
Okay.
We just got the map up on the desk if anybody wanted to look at it.
Yeah, does anyone want to see this now? or-
I mean, we can just go over real quick. Precinct 1, let me see, all registered voters, as Scott said, will be notified by postcard. Precinct 1, Center Street, which was Precinct 5, is now Precinct 1. Chapel Street, which was Precinct 5, is Precinct 1. Cliff Street, which was Precinct 5, is now Precinct 1. Lake Street, which was Precinct 5, is now Precinct 1. And Wilson Place, which was Precinct 5, is now Precinct 1. Precinct 2 looks like Adam Street is now part of Precinct 2. Precinct 3 lost 3 streets, but kept part of North Ave. Precinct 4, there was no changes. And then,
Precinct 5 will lose the above streets.
yeah, and then Precinct 5 will lose the above streets that I mentioned to Precinct 1. Scott, will something like that go up on the town website? Will Leanne be able to put something up, or along with the postcards, just so we have 2 areas?
Yep.
Okay. Awesome. So with that being said, that's the re-precincting plan. We do need to take a vote of it, so I will entertain a motion or any further discussion on that.
Just so everyone knows, this is because of the census, and it's every 10 years that it's done, correct, sir? Just in case someone's wondering why we're changing the precincts, it's because of the population changes in the towns and the areas of town, and they have to have equal amount of people in each precinct. So I'll make that motion.
Okay. The motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous. Next up on the agenda is appointments to Conservation Commission. So before we get started, if I can now find my notes. So we have received and accepted a resignation letter from a voting member of the Conservation Commission. That spot will be posted on the town website tomorrow, Tuesday, October 26th, and applicants can apply until Wednesday, November 3rd, close of business. And we will appoint that position at our next meeting, which will be Monday, November 8th. That is a voting member position that we will be posting. So please, if you have any interest you want to put in, please put in, and again, close of business on Wednesday, November 3rd for the application, and we will be appointing at the Monday, November 8th meeting. So with that being said, appointments to Conservation Commission. You do have in your packet, we had, I believe, 7 applicants put in. Scott, how many positions do we have to fill tonight?
2 voting and 1 associate, I believe.
Correct.
2 voting, 1 associate. So you can, if you want to review your packets, however the board feels, if you want to go.
I would make a motion, Mr. Chairman, to appoint Tim Warner to a voting position.
Do you want to allow them to speak if they showed up?
I'm sorry, is anyone here?
Yeah. Is anyone here that put an application in that would like to speak? If you would, you can step right up to the podium, state your name and address, and tell us briefly about yourself, and go from there.
My name's Alice Leary, 46 Gore Street, Abington. So, good evening. I know some of you on the board. My name's Alice Leary. Just a little bit about me. Currently, I'm finishing paramedic school. So why would I want to run for this conservation position? So I wanted to help the community, solve issues, and work alongside the selectmen, make this community a great place to live, help people deal with issues that may arise, but also provide some new blood on the conservation committee. I want to help town of Abington protect its wetlands, water resources, including public and private water supplies, and deal with any flood or erosion concerns, and help anybody that has any conservation issues.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So anyone else would like to speak, step right up. Anyone else? I'm hearing none, so again, I will open it back up to the board.
Mr. Chairman, after reviewing the applicants and all the resumes, and I also want to express to Mr. Leary, thank you for coming to this meeting and speaking. I know it's not easy to put yourself out there for a committee in whatever position it may be. And, you know, the town is getting younger, and I like to see that younger people are getting involved in the town. with your background, Mr. Chairman, I would like to make the motion to appoint Alex Leary to a full voting member to the Conservation Commission.
I'll second that.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second on Alex Leary for a full voting member. Any further discussion on this motion? Hearing none. All in favor of appointing Alex Leary for a full voting member, say aye.
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 Opposed? That's unanimous. So we now have one voting member position open and one associate member position open.
So, Mr. Chairman, I will make a motion to appoint Tim Warner as a voting member.
So we have a motion for Timothy Warner for a full voting member. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion on Timothy Warner for a full voting member? I'm hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous. So both two voting member positions are now full. We have a one associate member position. And we'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, reviewing the applicants and their resumes, I think it would be valuable, as we've gone through so many changes with the Conservation Commission, to have someone with some expertise, and I will nominate Kathy Creighton to serve as a Conservation Commission alternate.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor for Kathy Creighton for the associate position. Do we have a second? Do we have any other motions from the board?
Mr. Chairman, I would nominate, make a motion to appoint Daniel Camerata as an associate member.
We have a motion on the floor for Daniel Camerata for an associate member. Do we have a second on that motion?
I'll second that.
We have a second. Any further discussion on the motion for Daniel Camerata for an associate member? I'm hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, I'll just because of my previous nomination, I'll vote present.
Received. Okay. Received, so motion is Alex Rosanson, Mike Kolodgy, and we have 4 members voting aye and 1 member voting present. Okay, so,
So, Mr. Chairman, the applications that we did not appoint tonight would still be good at the next meeting, correct?
so do we want to,
Or do they need to reapply if any of those people want it?
what does the board feel? Should we have them carry their applications over, or do we want to have them reapply?
I think we should carry.
Carry them over.
Carry over.
Keep doing, yeah.
Yeah, but
Yep.
what's the posting process in the charter? Shouldn't, like, is there a certain time frame with these?
Yeah, so if we post it tomorrow, they would have to be in on the Wednesday before our next meeting.
But this wasn't posted when they applied.
I believe,
This is
I think that's only for, like,
Yeah,
filling
yeah,
like an
that's
elected
true,
position.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
this is for the boards and committees. I don't think we,
Yeah, so it's different for elected positions,
Right.
and then when you go into your, you have a selectman policy, making them active. As the need arises due to resignations or other reasons, the board may make appointments throughout the year to fill vacancies to unexpired terms. Any such vacancy shall be announced at a meeting of the board, and the date for appointment to fill such vacancy shall be set by the board by majority vote. And then it goes on, postings for other positions become vacant throughout the year should be made at least 14 days in advance of the appointment.
So nothing saying we can't carry them over. Okay.
So let's carry them over and reopen it for anyone else that would like to apply.
Yeah, well,
Mr. Chairman, and
yes.
this is also for Scott as well. What if hypothetically there was an associate member serving on the conservation right now that would like to go up to a voting member. So what would be the scenario for
They
that?
would have to do an application.
So
Okay.
I would have them fill out an application for the sole fact of sometimes associate members could go on for a variety of reasons. Maybe they don't have the time, maybe they want that, but if they want a voting member, I would have them fill out an application for the voting member, and again, we will hear it next meeting.
Okay. All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. So, Scott, will we, do we want to notify these members that their applications will be heard next meeting?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we'll send everybody an email. We did submit something, one saying if they were selected, that they go see the town clerk. And once we're not, obviously we'll carry them over.
Okay. All right, so next up is a joint meeting with the Board of Health for the appointment to the Board of Health to fill a vacancy until the next town election. At this time, I'd ask the Board of Health to join us at the table, and they can open their own meeting, and then I'll continue.
The time being 6:54 PM, I'd like to call the Board of Health meeting to order. All members are present.
Okay. So we do have a vacancy on the Board of Health that we were planning to fill tonight. We did post it. It was brought to the attention. I want to thank Aaron Christian for bringing to our attention in the charter for an elected position, not an appointed one, an elected position that they have to apply. We have to post it and they have to apply within 10 days. And then from there, we have to fill between 14 and 30 days, I believe is the terminology. My suggestion, because we did have multiple applicants, this would effectively spotlight just one applicant as opposed to the full contingent. My recommendation would be to repost this. I think we need to be fair. We need to repost it. I would recommend reposting it tomorrow, which would be Tuesday, October 26th. They would have 10 days to apply, which would put them until the close of business on Friday, November 5th, which would be 12:30 PM on Friday, November 5th, 12:30. And then that would give us the 10 days, and we could then appoint at our next meeting. We would hold a joint meeting on Monday, November 8th. That would be my recommendation. I would open it up to the two boards to give input if they would like to do that or move forward tonight.
I think we should re-advertise, repost it and do it at the next meeting.
Okay.
Just to clarify, what was the reasoning for reposting, just to clarify again?
So the town charter specifies when filling a position that was an elected position, so not one that's appointed, not an elected position that's elected by the town. When we're filling that vacancy, it has to be posted for 10 days. So you have to apply within 10 days of that posting. And then from there, we have to appoint or have a joint meeting and appoint within 14 to 30 days. Is the terminology,
Yeah.
Scott?
No earlier than 14 and no later than 30. So what happened is when we had the vacancies on Concom, we had the 20 days for, or we posted till the 20th, and we also posted this until the 20th. We should have cut this off at the 14th. And some people did submit after the
Not their fault. It
14th.
was
No,
because we
thinking because
posted
we
it.
had posted it until we had treated it the same we treated the Concom ones, but in fact, so those ones we can't accept. But in fairness, they did not know that, and had we advertised it properly, they might have sent their application in earlier.
Okay. That's what I wanted to know.
Okay. Anyone else from the board or the Board of Health have any input or anything they want to say?
I think it's appropriate to postpone and to hold it up for proper posting, so that we can get an opportunity to file their interest.
And we'll do the same thing, is I'll notify the folks that did apply, all of them,
And their applications will still.
in their, yeah, if that's the will of the board.
How many applicants were there, Scott? Was there
Three?
three?
Great, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so
So
with that being,
were we under the requirement or over it?
what was that for the timeframe?
Yes, the
Over.
time.
So we were over, so I believe it was 3 applicants, only one of them would have fallen into that 10-day period. The problem is we did not notify or make that known that there was only a 10-day window. So 2 of the applicants applied after that 10-day window.
So hypothetically, so if, I'm just saying hypothetically here, if we move forward tonight with an appointment, we would be violating the town charter?
That's correct.
Okay, that's what I want to clarify.
And so I know it would push it off, but I think we need to do what's right and follow the charter. Like I said, it was, maybe it's an oversight, we need to, but we need to do what's right and post it, and again, so it would be 2 weeks from tonight, Monday, November 8th. And this is the Board of Health, are you guys and girls able to attend Monday, November 8th for that meeting? Okay. So with that being said, if that's, yes? Yeah.
Rick Collins, 74 Orange Street. I'm chairman of the Charter Review Commission. In my reading of this, one, there isn't anything in here about allowing you to repost, but I'll assume that that's allowed by town council.
I don't think you
There's
have to go to
nothing
town
existing.
council for
Right.
clarification on that.
But the second thing is that the language specifically says that the application is following the posting. So essentially what you're doing is you're taking down the posting and you're reposting. So that means the clock starts over.
Right.
So that anyone who was interested would have to reapply, basically. You can't carry over applications. They would have to file anew in relation to the new posting.
I would make a comment.
What's that?
I would make a comment.
Yep.
I would be in favor of that, to be honest. The applications that we received, I think having them resubmitted with a little more robust information would actually serve myself better to be able to make a decision. So it kind of needs that need as well.
Absolutely. Anything else from the board? No. I will take a couple quick comments, but this was already asked, a public comment. Please step up, name and address, please.
My name is Jennifer McLeod, 468 Randolph Street. I just want to clarify. So you people posted an opening for the Board of Health. You were supposed to give it 10 days, but you ended up letting it go 20. Because of that, you got 2 extra applicants, correct? So you allotted more time, so it really didn't deprive anybody, it just allotted more time. But now, because these 2 extra applicants came in, not knowing that there was a problem, because you people made the mistake, now it's open again. When you've already allotted an extra 10 days, you're now going to open it up again. It makes absolutely no sense. Please tell me what the problem truly is.
There is
Why
no,
don't you want to vote tonight?
Ms. McLeod, I appreciate your comments. From here, again, we were following the charter. Again, we admitted that this was brought up, and we are going to do what's right. So I think that is your answer.
So you're going to
If
allow
there'll be
more
no-
time?
I'm not going to have any
Okay.
discussion back and forth. We are following the charter. Do you have any other? Okay, okay. So with that being said, if there's anything further from the boards, if not, the Board of Health, if you guys and girls want to close out and leave, you can, or if you have any further comments.
Take a motion to adjourn. Make a motion. Second. Make a motion to adjourn.
Second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Appreciate it, thanks so much.
Mr. Chairman, did we have to have a vote, though, to postpone it?
I don't believe so. Do
Maybe a vote to repost it.
we want to take a vote to repost?
I don't think you have to. I think when we looked at that originally with the town council, we didn't have to do that.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessary, but if you would like to, I mean, you can put a motion out there, Alex. I think we're all in agreement, both boards are in agreement with it and following the charter as far as the timeframes.
My only concern is, why wasn't it posted correctly?
Because we made a mistake.
We made a mistake.
We didn't bring it up?
None of us, Alex, I mean, including
I'm just
yourself
saying,
and
I
everyone
mean,
else on this board.
this is-
Do you know it, Alex?
Alex, did you know that this was a mistake when we posted it?
No, I did not know.
we didn't
I
either.
agree, so
So that's
unfortunately,
why we're correcting the
mistakes are made and we're correcting it and doing it right.
I just, I also feel it's disingenuous
Hold
for,
on, Alex, I can't hear you, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
disingenuous for the people who did apply, and now we're telling them to reapply again because we didn't do it right. I mean, that's, I understand both sides of it, I truly do, it's just,
Yep.
we need to be extra careful when posting these things, because we want to make sure we're not in any charter violations or anything.
Well, this has been an extraordinary year with
Yeah.
posting and
I don't think
the
we've
original
ever
appointments and everything else.
Reappointed.
There was no ill intent, I mean, it was a
Oh,
mistake
no, I'm
that-
not saying there
you
was
know what I
any
mean?
ill intent at
We're
all,
making what's
absolutely.
right.
That's just, we need to be more vigilant.
Yes, I agree, that's all of us on the board, I definitely agree.
And I'm
We
guilty
need to
of
do
it
what's
too. I
right,
mean,
yeah.
I didn't notice it either, so.
So I think it's fair, again, that we follow the charter. Okay. If there's nothing further on that, I will move on to discussion and possible vote on land donation at 0 Linwood Street. Scott, do you want to bring us up to speed?
I think you all have in your packet a copy of a quick claim deed and a letter, starts off with a letter from Roger Woods. He has 2 abutting parcels off of Linwood Street directly fronting on Beaverbrook. I handed out with you a couple of handouts just showing a Google Earth photo of these 2 lots. I think Mr. Brailleman's here. He might be able to tell us the significance of these, but my recommendation tonight would be that this board makes refers these, probably to the Open Space Committee and to Conservation. If you guys are okay with it, then they can review it and Conservation can accept it.
Okay.
But Dan, if you don't mind, I assume I sent you a copy of what these parcels were.
You just state your name and address for everyone at home.
Dan Brillman, 222 Linwood Street in Abington. I'm not an expert. I'd refer to Jim Dombrowski on something like this, but I know that these parcels are very important. They're important to the ecosystems. There's a lot of wetlands in there, and it abuts property that abuts Ames Knoll State Park. So, I mean, I'm for and in favor of saving any land that's natural for nature, because nature is losing its ground, and we need to protect our natural spaces, the ecosystems, because they protect our waters and they protect from flooding and all the different things that we have problems with right now. So I highly recommend that you accept this land donation, and I think it's very generous. I don't know who's donating the land, but I'm thankful that they're donating the land, and that's about it.
Dan, not to put you on the spot, but
No, it's
I kind of did.
That's all right.
So this abuts the Beaverbrook Conservation Area, but there's the Wildlands Trust property that you are familiar with, that we're just trying to work back and forth on getting them in here. Does this eventually connect to that?
No, I believe that the property Wildlands Trust was talking about was over on Mill Street.
Well,
That
if
connects
they,
to
on the
Brockton.
Beaverbrook, I
Yeah,
remember they said that.
But of course, anything along, Beaver Brook is really, really important.
So again, the procedure that we're following would be, if this board accepts it, then the only thing from there is we want Open Space Committee to review it and recommend it also to Conservation, and they can make the acceptance and put it into Conservation land.
So they make the acceptance?
They do. They make the final, but it's with the blessing of this board and with
So this board
Open
makes a
Space.
motion to forward it to Conservation?
Yeah, but because I would,
Open Space.
Open
Committee
Space and Conservation.
and
I want them,
Conservation.
yeah.
So There's 2 abutting parcels of land off Linwood Street, directly fronting on Beaver Brook, that would like to be donated to the town of Abington. Just going to read this in full here. The taxes are paid in full. I attach your tax bills, most recent deed and assessor's plan. Should the town accept, I will furnish a recordable deed for your review. Parcels are as follows: 0 Linwood Street, map 20, lot 61, book 46703, page 294, 5.2 acres. And 0 Linwood Street, map 20, lot 60, book 46703, page 294, 1.72 acres. I appreciate your attention in regard to this matter. Respectfully submitted, Roger Woods, Jr. So with that being said,
Yeah, and I think additionally, just to let you know, once we get down further into it, we'll have a title search done, just to make sure it's clean title by town council. And again, we've already verified the taxes are paid on it. And I do believe in, again, having open space look at this, I do believe that these properties to the south were all unbuilt and part of the plan. But again, that's what we want to have them take a look at.
okay.
Well, I think we should take anything anyone wants to give us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should take it if it's going to be given to us, so.
It's good for those 2 committees too.
And that's a good parcel if we can get some abutting land there.
5, 6, 7
Might have
acres.
access to it eventually.
It's almost 7 acres,
Mm.
right? Okay.
I know there are other parcels that connect to that, and I would like to see Abington build some trails, possibly get some money for some boardwalks, I mean, there's a lot of money out there, and there's a lot of money coming from the federal government for these things in the next few years. And I'd also like to point out that Nicole Emery is here tonight, and she's on the Open Space Committee, so I'd like to recognize her.
Awesome.
Do you want to jump in and say anything, Nicole?
No, I mean, I know we're reviewing 3 other lots right
Yep.
now, so this would just be a nice addition.
And when is your next meeting?
We're no, I have to look on, it's a Tuesday. It's coming up in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. We're meeting actually to look at the parcels this weekend.
And I'll forward this off to you. Maybe you guys can take a look at it.
Okay.
16th.
November 16th.
November
So Tuesday, November 16th, Open Space Committee meeting. It's what time?
6 o'clock.
6 PM.
Right
Okay.
here?
In here, yeah.
Because I'm your liaison, I'll be there.
Nice to meet you.
Okay. So with that being said, any further discussion from the board? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we accept the land donation at 0 Linwood Street.
Okay.
I'll second.
We have a motion and we have a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Next item is discussion on adopting policies regarding training, roles, and responsibilities of board and committee members. Scott, do you have any?
So, as you know, we do have a training coming up in November. And one thing that I think it's important, and we try to make it part of that training.
If I could, your meeting's November 16th,
Tuesday.
and that's the date for the,
That's the date for the training with the,
Yeah.
At the same date.
what time's the training?
Time's the training, Tim?
11.
11.
Training is not at 11.
No, because you're not going to get anyone there at 11.
Right when I said that, I was like, no.
Yeah, let me know how it goes.
I believe it's at 6.
6?
Yeah, it didn't say in the public announcement on the agenda.
Yeah.
If you did it beforehand, you'd all be in the same place anyway.
and
No, the training's at the senior center.
Like
They could have their meeting at the
Oh, yeah.
at the senior center.
Yeah, you could.
All right.
Yeah, maybe do it at 5 at the senior center. Yeah.
Yeah, and the training.
You can make sure I get the emails too of your agenda, please. Thank you.
okay.
I don't think I got it yet. All right, so, again, and I've been discussing this with Alex too, that, you know, there are roles and responsibilities for each board and each committee. They're generally accepted guidelines and practices that are put out there, not looking to reinvent anything. I've looked in having the Citizens Planning Training Council come out, maybe do a session on this training specifically for planning and zoning. They also have some guidelines that are already out there and some policies that we can look at and adopt. The MACC does one for conservation commissions, and actually have some flyers here that I'll give out to our new appointees and make sure that they get a copy of it. I think it's important that we require annual training and provide annual training to all our committee members. It's only fair to them for a lot of reasons. Obviously, we want them to understand what their roles and their functions are as they represent the town, but to also understand what's acceptable practice, what acceptable policies are, acceptable behavior. These are guidelines that, as long as they follow them, they'd be protected under our umbrella of you know, legal safety, as opposed to you know, straying from that and being out there not under our umbrella. So we're working on it, working with council. I think most of them I try and get some of them to this board at our next meeting on the 8th, and certainly have them available, or have a lot of them available at the training on the 16th.
Yeah, so like Scott said, we've been talking about this, and it's something that I talked about with the former town manager, that we get a lot of volunteers on these boards that have never been on boards before, and we appreciate people doing it, but we also will expect that if you are appointed to a board, we will probably be making a policy that you must get training within a certain amount of time, or you could be removed from the board. It protects you, it protects the town, and it helps you understand what you're doing on these boards. Again, we don't want to scare anyone away from volunteering, but it definitely needs to be a policy where you are required. I'm required to do continuing education. You know, a lot of you guys are too. So, I mean, I don't see any difference that with than our boards and commissions.
No,
So,
again, we're going to supply the training too.
And we're going to
Give them
supply
all
the training. So, years ago, when I was on the conservation, we did bring town council in a few times and did training, and we all attended the MAC different sessions throughout the years. So I think going forward, I would like to make some policies at the next meeting regarding this.
I think it's a good idea. I also think we need to put in some policies or a policy or guidelines on liaisons as well. I know we created that. I don't think it needs to be much. I think we could put a couple
Well, I think
things in
maybe
as well.
we should set some time for the next meeting just to review all our policies and, you know, add a couple of policies and adjust some of them if need be. So we could all review the policies and procedures, and we'll discuss it at the next meeting.
Why don't we, instead of doing that all in one meeting and rushing through it, pick a couple and do a couple
Okay.
at every meeting, so we can, hey, this meeting, we're gonna go over this policy.
Well, I think right now what we're talking is just sort of the general
Just for
policies
yours.
as they sort of.
But he was talking about going through all of them.
Yeah, but
Well,
I
that
mean,
is
I don't
coming
think
in the
there's a
future,
lot of
but that's-
changes that we'd want to make. Just review them between now and the next meeting. I mean, I think I can't think of anything in the existing policies we'd want to change, but I just think if we're going to have the discussion, everyone should reread them. And if we want to adjust something, we can.
And as far as policies and procedures, I mean, they really should be an annual review of all policies and procedures.
Correct. Yeah.
I do it, you know, I think most places do it, so I don't see why we wouldn't as well. just an annual review. Again, we can split them up like Tim was saying over the year if you want, or we could do them all at once, but it's definitely a good idea. Keep current, that way we're always looking at them, we're always making changes, we're getting input, and everything is current. So moving forward with that, are we looking for, to have copies or at next meeting, or are we gonna review them and then talk at next meeting?
Or get some, whatever you do have for existing policies on boards and committees.
You have the book
I'll get out
here,
to you.
I think we all have a copy
You
of the
should,
policies,
but
yeah.
We
It's
had to
not-
send out a digital copy not too long ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then any of the new ones that we're proposing, we'll get to
just be
you.
added.
Yeah.
So it'd be good and we can review them, discuss next meeting, and then take it from there.
Sounds good.
Okay. So there's nothing further on that at this time? So it's a declaration of surplus property to be disposed of in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 30B, which is 2 mowers and 1 sand machine from Strawberry Valley Golf Course. Scott, if you could.
Yeah, there's 2 Toro motors and a Smith Company sand machine. The mowers are 17 and 18 years old. The sand machine is 20 years old. They're all listed as salvage. The mowers are each $3,000 roughly in estimated salvage value, $600 for the sand machine. We'll put them out. We'll put them out on an auction site.
That's the salvage value or the original?
The original value, rather.
So we,
my guess is we'll get scrap cost, prices for them.
okay.
We've already stripped all the parts and everything that we could.
I'm thinking
Can
after
use.
those many years, they probably did, yep. They got a lot of time out of those machines.
So these were already all replaced with new
Yeah, I think
equipment?
we replaced some of them last year.
And this is all out of their own fund, that's not even paid with from the general fund.
No, it's not, but it's owned by the town, so it still gets surplus, and that money will go into general fund.
Okay, so this will be put on an auction site shortly, or
Yeah, depending, we'll try an auction, if not, just get into scrap.
how long will they be up on the auction site, do you know?
No.
It's a time frame, okay. And then from there, we would, if we don't sell them, we would just scrap them for that money. That money would then go into the general
Yep,
fund as well?
Either way, the money will go into the general fund, whatever we get.
Okay. Do
In the
we,
general fund, or does it go back into their revolving?
I believe it'll go into, this is actually owned by the town, so
Right.
it's town property, it should just go into the general fund.
so do we need anything further on this? Do we need a vote, or?
Yeah, just a motion to declare it surplus and available for disposal.
I'll make the motion.
Second?
Motion, Alex, you seconded?
Yes.
So a motion and a second. Any further discussion on this? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. And we are now on to the town manager report. Scott?
Really, that's sort of the big things we've been working on was trying to get some training together, and budget season's already started for us preliminarily, and we've met with Finance Committee. Speaking of training opportunities, though, I think you probably all received a notification from the MMA. I think we have to probably have a discussion on attendance for that. I think it's important. It's a great opportunity for members of this board and the Finance Committee particularly to sit in some training sessions that are specific to boards of selectmen and to Finance Committee. So that happens in January. It's something that apparently you haven't budgeted for in the past. We can do it in the selectmen budget, but I think something that you probably want to come up with some sort of policy on sending candidates each year. At least 3 out of the 5 should probably go, and some sort of rotating schedule. But again, they have some really good breakout sessions there, and good networking opportunities.
Okay.
And that's really all I have for this week.
On the training on November 16th, is that posted on the town website?
I will check. It should be.
Okay. Can we, if it isn't, can we post it? Can we make sure that the time is on there as well?
Yeah, I know that we did send it out to the committees individually, or the plan is to send it out to the chairs and ask them to distribute it at their meetings.
That was my next question. Okay, so that has been distributed.
Yeah, we did put an RSVP on it.
We did? Have we gotten any RSVPs?
The RSVP will not be going to me, so I don't
Okay.
have that answer for you right now.
Okay.
Scott, can you update what the Highland Road thing that was on our radar?
Yeah, so what I did is I put it out, I thought initially it was one of the Class 2 or one of the commercial garages that were down there that we licensed, that we would have the ability to bring them in for sort of a show cause. Turns out that wasn't what that entity was. It was actually an entity that rents out the old cable studio. I did check to try and find out exactly what sort of rules that they have. It was not there's no special permit apparently that they're working under. There's nothing that seemed to require set hours up there. I did reach out to see if there were any further issues after that, because we did seem to be getting some reports, but I was told by Deputy Cotter and by Deputy Glenn that although there have been some minor calls, but nothing significant like, that brings them up on their radar. It seems to mostly be stemming from some disagreements between the landlord and that party that's in there. But there's nothing that, other than a noise complaint or a party or some sort of event that never should have happened, nothing's happened since then. There's nothing we can take away from them. They don't have a license with this board, it's really just a tenant issue.
It's just a tenant.
Yeah, so what we've been trying to do is kind of keep an eye on it. If we do have any sort of issues like that up there again, I think a cease and desist will go out to the landlord, that he's going to have to remove the tenant. But again, I've been told that, they've been monitoring it and nothing like that. Apparently, the calls that they do get, fire gets, I think, some calls because they disconnect the smoke detector on occasion. Things like that have happened, but nothing, that rises to the level of a disturbance.
If they're doing that with fire, are they getting fined? Do you know?
I don't know.
I think that's, I can't imagine Chief Nuttall would not, but that's of utmost importance.
I agree.
If they disconnect it, and if that's just a tenant in a building, that's a huge issue, and, bringing in,
I know if I own the property.
if it's, I know.
If we get more complaints, I think we should bring them in, because one of the complaints that I heard from the property owner is that they're having parties there and selling alcohol.
I think
And
it's.
if that's the case, they're not allowed to be selling alcohol, so we should be able to shut them down with that.
And I think there's, it is I know if it was just that one time isolated incident, but that still brought in a lot of people and a lot of assets from other towns. So I think is an issue, especially for public safety, who's already, working tirelessly and shorthanded. Is there any update from the police department with the new police chief and anything going on over there? Scott?
Anything?
Just a transition and anything, any news?
Well, it's been 3 weeks. I think he's settling in. We're in the beginning stages of negotiating a new 3-year contract. We're obviously doing what we can to, deal with the retention issues that we've had over there and with the recruitment issues. I think so far, everything and all the discussions we've had have been very positive. And we're, he's working his way through starting the process on hiring. The new list, as everybody knows, has come out, so he's working down that to get some recruits in there. And we're hitting him with, it's budget season, and we have to actually do a big review of his budget his first time around, but, looking at the fact that we're also trying to deal with the problems that I just mentioned, such as obtaining good employees and recruiting good employees.
And we have civil services now testing every year, so that's going to add a different dynamic as well.
I would think it would help,
So,
right, if nothing else.
you would think. hopefully. Okay. Is there anything further from the board? I did have one question. Rick Collins is in the audience. Rick, is there any next meeting of the Charter Review Committee?
November 4th, 2 Thursdays.
So November 4th, Thursday here, and what time is it at?
6 p.m.
6 p.m. So Charter Review Committee, just if anyone's watching or wants to know, Thursday, November 4th, Town Hall, 6 p.m.
And I did actually have that conversation with the chairman. You know, I think that we've all kind of individually noticed that there's sometimes a different or issue in the charter that refers us back to the bylaws and/or otherwise, that we may end up having to do some sort of a bylaw review or a subcommittee with that committee to look at the bylaws at the same time.
So if there's nothing further from the board, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Tim doesn't want to.
Still too early. Kids don't go to bed till 8. We got something to talk about.
I'll make a
Motion to
motion.
adjourn.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you.
I'm gonna give you like a